Well, Passenger was low quality, predictable horror slop that felt and sounded cheap and generic. It had about as much quality as a student film of like a end of year thesis exam. There was a lot of time spent not doing a whole lot, and the jump scares were few and far between. It was so boring and so obvious that I was literally queuing in and counting down jump scares. The religious ideas around it were weak at best, and there was one line that really annoyed me. Something holy, there's always something unholy. Really? Come on. There was a lot of relationship nonsense and road law that just made me think of that scene in Kevin Smith's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And yes, you know what I'm on about. So the film is about a young couple who are completely uprooting their life from their comfortable and nice apartment in the city, where they are changing their roots and becoming traveling gypsies and living in a van and living on the road, just living a completely different lifestyle to what they were doing before, and leaving the stresses of life in the city to live a more open and adventurous lifestyle. So they're on the road, and after about 6 weeks of being on the road, they're having a good time, they're enjoying life, and they're on their way to a sort of burning van festival about motorhomes and RVs and all that sort of stuff. And so on the way there, they are driving down one of the back routes, and it's quite dark, very eerie and gothic like, with the trees and the woods all around, and they encounter someone who's having a bit of car trouble and speeds off in front of them and overtakes them and has a crack in the windscreen and is clearly having signs of distress, and then the car has run off the road. They are witness to this accident happening, so they stop by the roadside and investigate what's going on until some weird stuff happens. Suddenly, they discover that the car has three scratch marks on the boot and has been marked somehow, by something. They deal with that and get the authorities in to help out and tell their side of the story, and then they move off. Then, when they get to the next town, they suddenly discover they have the same three marks on their van, and soon the same supernatural and religious stuff happens to them. Oh, this film was awful. I really didn't like this. And the reason why is because it literally just felt like a student film. It was very generic, it felt very safe, it had very predictable jump scares. Like I said, I was literally so bored, I was literally queuing them in, and they made it so obvious. They literally had like a low hum, they had this spinning camera technique thing going on, and silence, and then after a brief silence, bam! There it is. There is the jump scare, and it's literally like, you could see it about fucking mile away, and it just really infuriated me because like they just stuck to a formula and they didn't do anything different. They didn't try like new stuff at all. It was just very, very generic. Even the characters themselves seemed a bit like meh, like you never really sort of cared for them, and the acting and the direction, and it just felt very slow paced, which is ironic because there's a scene in the film where just before they set off for their journey, one of the characters like opening something, and guys like telling them to hurry up and open the package. It's like I'm doing exactly the same thing watching the film. I'm sitting there, I was like, hurry up, just get moving, get going. It just felt very slow, and there's a whole lot of times where not a lot happened, and it was literally just them driving down the road, stopping for a bit, driving down the road, stopping for, and it's just really, really. I don't know how they managed it, but somehow they managed to make an hour and a half film feel like 4 hours. The amount of times I was like this, come on, come on. It's just, yeah. And they also had like the most generic horror trope that's going. They have a shot where they're underneath the van because he's trying to get some bolts that have been some mysteriously shoved underneath the van, and so his girlfriend gets taken, and then you see her fall to the ground, and you see her from his perspective, and then suddenly her body gets dragged off into the distance, and they have that weird sort of like camera shake movement and the zoom out, and you've seen that about a gazillion times in every horror film, and it's like, come on, come on, we have seen this. Even the sound was really sort of generic and samey after a while. And there was one cool bit where they were in the forest and he was trying to look for his keys for the van because the weird passenger mystical being, whatever you want to call it, was like taunting them. You hear the keys jingle in the distance, and you're like, generally filled me with dread. In moments, the jump scares like just too obvious, and the acting wasn't particularly great, and it just felt long and slow and generally quite boring. And that's all I've got to say about that. So yeah, definitely don't go and check this one out in the cinema. So thank you very much for watching my video. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and I shall see you in the next video.